Gemini, I love what you're pulling here. These two cards are fantastic, fantastic. So Gemini, from Late Vampire, this week you pulled Supernatural, Inexplicable, Miraculous, and Otherworldly. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled Growth. Beautiful, beautiful cards. The Blessing with Supernatural says, there are aspects to you that are divine and utterly connected to all the cycles and aspects of nature. You now feel secure and safe in developing and expressing your intuitive gifts more than ever before. Working with this card says, it is time now to begin to understand that the senses we all have are not special gifts given only to the chosen. We all have them. This is something I preach about all the time. You may have been despairing at your own lack of gifts and wondering what your own abilities may be. It is time to discover this by paying attention and through hard work. And growth, right? Spiritually growing. It's perfect. And I love the quote for this card for you guys. It says, your message is best expressed when you are uniquely you. And Gemini is definitely unique. I have a lot of Gemini friends, and their personalities are some of the most beautiful personalities I have ever come across. And I think that that quote is perfect for you guys. Uniquely you. The inspiration with this card says, it may be time for a change of scenery. Visit a foreign country, embark on a new enterprise, or learn a skill. Most importantly, grow. The personal question says, what have I outgrown? Am I willing to become independent? The key ideas are taking a stand, living your truth, and teaching by example. And what's funny is that the key words are warrior, peace, and courage. And I love it. I love it. So growing in your intuitive gifts. Walking away from the things that you've outgrown, living your truth, speaking your truth. It's perfect. It's perfect. All right, Gemini. Here is the energy coming through, the Seven of Pentacles. So this one immediately to me is the reevaluation, right? It says failure on the card, but really it's the fear of failure. Here's the thing, there is the point to be made too with this card that it could be, you waiting to see things develop or grow, right? But for me, looking at this card, I've always attached it to the idea of looking at what you have to show for the efforts that you put through. Are you satisfied with the results? Or maybe do you need to start doing something different here? Are you seeing what you want to see? And whatever the situation is here, you're in the reevaluating process. You're looking at things a little bit differently. But then there's also the understanding here that for some of you may not be happy with the results that you're seeing. Oh, in the past, man, intuition is like surrounding you all over the place. The moon. The moon traditionally in the upright position has to do with fear, confusion, anxiety, chasing illusions, right? Things that are being brought to the surface through the subconscious mind. But then there's also a very beautiful spot too here with the moon. Things that are like in the darkness are being illuminated by the light of the moon. The problem is that what we see under the light of the moon is going to be very different than underneath the sun. But, I feel like there are things that are coming up that you need to pay attention to, or that you may have been noticing, especially with Supernatural and the Queen of Cups falling out. And I've always said too with this card that the water is the subconscious. The creatures that you see coming out of it in the traditional decks are talking about our innermost fears that we need to face. And that very much is what happens within the subconscious mind when we go into dreamland. When we talk about these nightmares where we're running away from monsters, but we feel like we're going super slow, right? When you learn how to turn around and face it, you realize that it can't do shit to you. So there may be things that are coming up that you're facing right now, especially looking at the Seven of Pentacles there. But again, the intuition, right? Paying attention to what you know intuitively is right. Oh, people around you. The King of Pentacles. Now, if for some of you, when you're looking at this in terms of what is happening for you on the earthly plane, right? Your possessions, work, things like that. When you're looking at the King of Pentacles, this could absolutely be somebody coming through who may be giving some really great advice when it comes to what you're dealing with, in terms of work and finances. But the other thing, though, too, what I feel like with that king sitting there is when you're looking at that with growth, you guys are getting to a point here where I feel like things are successful in your life. But maybe there needs to be, some balance between what is happening in the physical and what is happening with you spiritual, just because of the cards that I'm seeing pulling out here. Now, for some of you, it could just be confusion on what you need to do here to create success. And there could very possibly be a person coming through. Now, I've always said, when earth signs show up, whether it's the King or the Queen of Pentacles, the advice that they give is fucking fantastic. They are so practical in the way that they think, and they help you see things very differently. But I get the feeling of both. Oh, yeah. So now for some of you, definitely it has to do with a person who is giving you advice that is leading you to a spot here where you feel independent. And I think that that's a big thing too with growth. Looking at the Nine of Pentacles is talking about self-reliance. This is somebody who does not need to rely on anybody else for their financial security or stability, right? You do that for you. You don't need anybody else's help here. It is about enjoying the finer things in life. It is suggesting that financially you're doing fantastic. And there's a reason to be a little bit indulgent and enjoy, some maybe expensive things, right? But I'm seeing this as you being self-reliant. You're able to make the decisions that you need to create that wealth in your life. I just think in the past, maybe there was some, confusion when it came to that. And that may be where you're seeking this advice from possibly this King of Pentacles. Oh, your best path to follow. The Prince of Cups or the Knight of Cups. Here's the thing. A lot of times it gets a bad rap because it's one of those things where, this could represent a person who is a lot of talk and no action, right? Because that's always been a big thing with this card, right? Talk is cheap. Gotta see action. But when you're looking at it as your best path to follow, it is about following your heart. And the other thing is, I really do think that some of you are needing some clarity on how you feel emotionally as well, especially looking at the moon. Because it's like, there's the duality. I mean, with what you're dealing with here, it's what's going on the physical plane and what is happening with you spiritually. And I think Spirit is trying to tell you that this is great, but you need to follow your heart as well. And then the other thing too is, and I don't really feel this, but for some reason it's coming up. Like, if it has to do with a person coming through, right, you have to be careful about being led on or being, led astray by your emotions, right? Oh, in your environment. Yeah, a lot of you may be just you. Things are going great for you financially, but the Hermit is suggesting that a lot of you guys are doing some soul searching big time. It's going within. It's needing that moment of solitude to really get those spiritual answers that you're looking for. And they are within. You're not seeking it externally. It would have been different if like the Hierophant would have showed up. But this is you, right? It suggests that a lot of you are in some really comfortable surroundings right now. Like you may be feeling really successful. Maybe some of you, are like really good in terms of your home life. Things are secure and stable. But there's a part of you that is, here, but you're also here. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I'm telling you. And maybe what you're looking at, it doesn't necessarily have to do with what is going on, financially or in the physical plane. Maybe what you're reevaluating is what is happening with you spiritually, right? Because Spirit is trying to say here that, there needs to be like some emotional openness. Oh, wow. The Eight of Wands. This is about communication. But the other thing too, I mean, it is fast energy, fast moving energy. Now, for some of you, if you are dealing with a person, because again, that King of Pentacles teeters for me on this one. This is you communicating with this person. But I think maybe some of you may be confused by the feelings that you're having or what their messages truly are. Maybe some of you are hoping to like be able to communicate with this person because your main focus is there. It's just, I think that I get the feeling that a lot of you are like not, you know, really sure on how to move forward on that. And it's like you're trying to seek some understanding here. It's a little bit different than like, you know, seeing the Two of Swords. I would have expected to see that if it was a difficult situation, but I don't think it is. I just think that, you know, some of you are like being pulled in two different directions here. But then you have this person that's like thrown in the mix, and then you have this communication going on. Now, the other thing is, the Eight of Wands, when you're looking at that as a hope or a fear, it's talking about things moving quickly and you being able to like act when you need to. I've always said with the Eight of Wands, when this shows up, things are going to be moving quickly, but you will know when the right time to act is. The door will open up and you're like, okay, boom, here I go, right? But then there is the part of communication, doing some communicating. And it may have to do with emotions. And there may be some struggle there when it comes to you. You know? And I wonder if it has to do with the fact that maybe you're used to being you, right? Oh, look at it. The intuition is everywhere. It is everywhere. You have, and I'm looking at it, right? There is like two very different things going on. You have one foot in and one foot out. I knew there was a reason why Grandma popped in my head starting this one. Looking at the High Priestess and the Moon, these are things that are being revealed. The Moon is suggesting that if it has to do with a person, you may not be like really understanding where the emotions are coming from. And for some of you, it may be happening quickly. But spiritually, you're in a different place here. You know, I think as far as what is going on in your physical, you're doing great. You are doing great. You're fine. You're fine. But you're looking at something else here, and there's the reevaluation. It's almost like what's more important here. And I think Spirit's saying that you need to open up emotionally and really start to look deep, deep within and really tap into your psychic ability to understand, you know, what's happening with you, what is happening with your intuition, how are you feeling emotionally, especially if you have some secretive communication that is coming up, right? There's a lot of different ways to look at this one. I get like different energies around it. But looking at the Moon and the High Priestess, yes, things being illuminated, things being brought to the surface, things that may have been hidden from you are being known now. And there's communication sitting underneath that, you know. I like seeing resilience because it's saying that you can bounce back from anything. But I'm not seeing anything that's like really difficult that you need to bounce back from, you know. I mean, I think that you're resilient in any kind of difficult situation. I mean, that's like inherent for Gemini. Initiative, taking the initiative. Maybe for some of you, it's needing to take the initiative when it comes to like romantic communication, because of what I'm seeing here, right? And then you've got this person here. But I think a lot of you are just in this spot where you're just happy being you, but maybe there needs to be some more communication, right? And you needing to take that initiative. And inner power, right? The inner power of your psychic abilities, because it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. But definitely, when you take the initiative to tap into your inner power, you can bounce back from anything. Demonstrate love. Find out what is important to the people you love and act on it. That's where initiative is coming in. And then the Knight of Cups. Absolutely. Receive with love and appreciation. Receiving something lovingly from others is a way of showing love. Receiving some communication? Possibly. But you know, if you're receiving messages, loving messages, if you do it with appreciation, you know, there's this like even flow with the communication that's happening. I just think for some of you, it's like secret. There's secretive communication going on. And again, possibly with an earth sign, but there are other feelings around this too, especially when it comes to you spiritually. But when it comes to demonstrating love, right, if there's a feeling here where it's like, there's a need here for you to like stop hiding the way you feel if you're communicating with somebody, right? And maybe by acting on what is important to them, that'll open up that communication and show how you truly do feel, if this does have to do with a person. But as far as within a relationship, yeah, it is important to do things for the ones that you love, especially when you give them a gift that's like, you know, has a lot of importance. There's like so many different things I can go into on this, but overall, Gemini, you know, your intuition is like spot on. It's just like right there. It's perfect. And what is happening with you externally is good too. It's just that there's a reevaluation on almost like what is more important here, you know, needing to communicate the way you feel and maybe tap into some of your feelings, or staying just the way you are, like on your own. All right, Gemini, so there's two very different things going on, but then at the same time, it's like they connect. On one hand, you've got things that are going on with you externally that look fantastic. And I do think that a lot of you are just used to being you. Some of you may be used to being on your own. For the singles out there, this is who I'm connecting with. Financially, things look great for you. But looking at the moon and then seeing the Page of Cups, to me, is talking about the confusion about how you're feeling about possibly a person. And you're looking at secretive communication, secretive, like loving communication, right? And I think some of you are like trying to figure it out. Like reevaluating your emotions. Or more, reevaluating why is it that you're so used to just being you, you know, and are you truly open to, you know, sharing this loving communication? Because that and the intuition keeps popping up everywhere. Your intuition is like right on, right on. And there's growth as well. And there's growth with you emotionally too, because I'm seeing the fish and I'm going, yeah, emotions, right? Swimming in the water. And I think a lot of you are looking at it differently. But I do think some of you are doing some communication. And, you know, it may be secret with the High Priestess, but then the other thing too is like maybe you're learning something here that you may not have known. That has to do with, you know, the communication, the loving communication. Overall though, Gemini, it's a beautiful reading. I think things are going great for you guys. I think that you have a really good foundation. Your physical world looks good. What is going on with you emotionally is major. It's major, and it has to do with that communication. Now, initiative, inner power, and resilience. I love that resilience shows up for you guys because it's perfect for your own energy. You're able to bounce back from things like nothing, like I got this, right? But needing to take the initiative when it comes to that communication, right? And tapping into that inner power, your psychic knowing, right? And being more in tune with the way that you're feeling emotionally, especially when it comes to the communication, like it keeps coming up, right? But receive with love and appreciation, and then demonstrating love. I think that this is going toward you in needing to, you know, really be open about the way that you're feeling and not, you know, keep those things secret if they're being revealed to you, right? But then the other thing is you have to be open to receiving it as well. So I do think that Gemini, I mean, you have two different things going on. Your physical world looks great. What is going on with you spiritually is amazing. It is amazing. But what's happening with you in terms of love, maybe bringing some stuff up to the surface. And there's a need here for, you know, you need to like look at your emotions differently, basically with the Seven of Pentacles. But I have to wonder here, what is it that you're finding out? Something is being illuminated. Like seriously, something's being illuminated here. So if you're getting communication, let me know because I want to know what's happening too.